Rosie O'Donnell breaks silence on Lauren Sanchez's wedding with Jeff Bezos. Why would he choose her after the salt of the earth, McKenzie? That is Rosie O'Donnell, writing those words on her Substack on June 30th, 2025. And the reason that sentence hit so hard is because every woman watching the Jeff Bezos wedding coverage had been thinking the exact same thing for 6 years. Nobody in Hollywood had the nerve to say it out loud, until Rosie did. Because Rosie O'Donnell is not some random celebrity looking for attention. She is one of the only famous people in America who has spent 30 years saying exactly what she thinks, no matter what it costs her. She went after the NRA when nobody else would after Columbine. She went to war with Donald Trump in 2006 and never backed down, even when he called her every name in the book for the next 20 years. Her mother died of breast cancer when Rosie was 10 years old, and she has said that losing her mother that young made her incapable of tolerating anything fake. So when Rosie O'Donnell looks at the photos from the most expensive wedding in modern history and calls Lauren Sanchez a fake femme-bot wife, people listen, because Rosie has earned the right to say it, and she did not hold back. When Jeff Bezos married Lauren Sanchez in Venice in a ceremony that cost $55 million, Rosie watched the whole spectacle unfold and went after Lauren with everything she had. She called her a fake femme-bot. She looked at the 27 designer outfits Lauren wore over 3 days and wrote posing for photos, forgetting themselves in their designer outfits, ready for a Vogue cover, a spot on ET. More worthless performative nonsense. She called the entire wedding a celebration of everything wrong with celebrity culture. But Rosie went further than fashion criticism. She questioned Jeff's soul. She wrote, "Sold his soul is what it looks like from here. The devil is smiling at all his conquests." And when she said the devil is smiling, she was not being dramatic. She was looking at the full picture of what this wedding actually represented. This is a man who left the mother of his 4 children for a woman whose own brother sold their intimate photos to the National Enquirer for $200,000. Lauren Sanchez's brother, Michael Sanchez, took private text messages and explicit photographs and handed them to a tabloid for cash. That is the family Jeff Bezos married into. That is the woman he chose to build a new life with. And instead of quietly moving on, he spent $55 million throwing the biggest party Venice has ever seen, turning his worst decision into a 3-day spectacle watched by the entire world. Rosie looked at all of that and said, "What your mother has been yelling at the television for the past year." He treats his employees with disdain. By any metric, he is not a nice man. She wrote that Jeff was raised by a single mother. He knows exactly what he does, so do all of his guests. And she was not the only famous woman who noticed. Charlize Theron was hosting her own charity event that same weekend and told the audience, "I think we might be the only people who did not get an invite to the Bezos wedding, but that's okay, because they suck, and we're cool." Katie Couric looked at Lauren's wedding dress and commented, "Welcome to the 80s. When big hair and conspicuous consumption ruled. Apparently tacky is back." Actress Farrow posted about MacKenzie Scott's philanthropy the day after the wedding, without mentioning Jeff or Lauren by name. She did not have to. Everyone understood the message. But Rosie went the furthest. She always does. She did not just criticize the bride or the groom. She questioned the soul of every single person who attended. She wrote, "We have become numb to gross excess. We have learned to tolerate it, celebrity worship, devoid of humanity, as we worship the ones hurting us." That was not a celebrity taking a shot at another celebrity. That was a 63-year-old woman saying out loud what millions of people had been feeling in silence. And the reason it went viral is because she was right. But Rosie did not stop at Lauren. She went after someone none of us expected. And what she said next is the reason this story will not go away. She turned on Oprah Winfrey. Rosie wrote, "Is Oprah friends with Jeff Bezos? Really? How is that possible?" And that one sentence cut deeper than anything she said about Lauren Sanchez. Because Lauren Sanchez is easy to criticize. Everybody already had opinions about her. But Oprah? Oprah was supposed to be different. For 30 years, Oprah Winfrey was the most trusted woman in America. She told you that you mattered. She made you feel seen. She looked into the camera every single afternoon and told women across this country that their pain was real and their stories were worth hearing. She earned that trust by being honest about her own pain, her own journey from poverty in Mississippi to becoming a billionaire. Millions of women grew up with Oprah on their television. They bought her book club picks. They watched her interview survivors of abuse and betrayal. They believed her when she said she understood what it felt like to be dismissed and disrespected, and that is exactly why what she did in Venice felt like a knife in the back. She flew to Italy to watch a man who cheated on his wife marry the woman he cheated with in a ceremony that cost more money than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes. She sat in a basilica on the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, surrounded by billionaires and celebrities, next to Kim Kardashian and Ivanka Trump, and she smiled for the cameras like this was something worth celebrating. Like a man destroying his family and spending $55 million to throw a party about it was cause for applause. Those women who grew up with Oprah turned on their televisions and saw her stepping off a water taxi in Venice with Gayle King, heading to a party thrown by a man who left the mother of his children for a woman he was sending explicit photos to behind his wife's back. And it felt like a friend choosing the other side. That is what Rosie was naming. Not a celebrity feud, not a political disagreement. The feeling of watching someone you trusted walk into a room full of billionaires and forget where she came from. And the reason Rosie's words about Oprah stung worse than anything she said about Lauren is because nobody ever expected anything from Lauren Sanchez. She was always going to be who she is. But Oprah told you she was different. Oprah told you she understood. And then she got on a plane to Venice and proved that she did not. And while all of that was happening, while Oprah was being photographed on water taxis and posing for cameras in Venice, the actual people who live in that city were protesting in the streets. Hundreds of Venetians marching through their own neighborhoods while 200 celebrities were being shuttled across the lagoon in private boats. While Lady Gaga and Elton John were performing at a masquerade ball inside the historic Arsenale, regular people were holding signs and chanting outside. One of the organizers said it plainly, "We are not protesting against weddings. We are protesting against the vision of Venice as a city where you only come to consume," and not a single person at that wedding noticed or cared. But here is where this story really turns. Because while Jeff was spending $55 million on a 3-day party and Oprah was smiling for the cameras back in the United States, McKenzie Scott was doing what she always does, giving money away quietly to food banks, mental health programs, historically black colleges, women's shelters, with no strings and no press conferences. By the end of 2025, McKenzie Scott had given away $26.3 billion to more than 2,700 organizations. $7 billion of that in 2025 alone. $7 billion. While her ex-husband was spending $55 million showing off, that contrast tells you everything you need to know about why Rosie's words hit so hard. Because when she asked, why would he choose her after the salt of the earth, McKenzie? She was giving a voice to the quiet rage of every person who has watched someone they loved choose spectacle over substance. McKenzie Scott was there from the beginning. She was in the van when Jeff drove across the country to start Amazon. She was writing the business plan in the passenger seat while he drove. She was there in the garage in Bellevue, Washington, packing books into boxes and shipping them herself. She helped build one of the biggest companies in the history of the world. And when her husband destroyed their marriage, she walked away with $38 billion and immediately started giving it away. She signed the giving pledge before the ink on the divorce papers was dry. She did not do interviews. She did not write tell-all books. She did not go on a press tour to destroy the man who betrayed her. She could have burned Jeff Bezos to the ground in public, and nobody would have blamed her. She had every right, but instead, she just quietly became the most generous philanthropist of her generation and let the numbers speak for themselves. Think about that for a second. A woman who was publicly humiliated by her husband's affair, who watched her private life get torn apart on every news channel in the country, whose divorce became the most expensive in human history. That woman took the money, said nothing, and started saving lives with it. While Jeff was buying a $500 million yacht and planning a $55 million wedding, McKenzie was funding domestic violence shelters and paying off student lunch debt at schools nobody had ever heard of. And here is what most people missed about the wedding itself. Jeff Bezos' own lawyers had to spend months drafting what sources called a bulletproof prenuptial agreement before the ceremony could even happen. Think about what that means. When Jeff married McKenzie in 1993, he had nothing. They were two people starting a life together with a dream and a rented garage. There was no prenup because there was nothing to protect. They trusted each other completely. 25 years later, when that trust built an empire worth $200 billion, McKenzie walked away with $38 billion and never said a bad word about him. But when Jeff married Lauren Sanchez, the richest man in the world needed a team of lawyers to make sure he would not lose his money again. He does not trust his second wife the way he trusted his first. And if that does not tell you everything about this marriage, nothing will. Jeff Bezos looked at the woman who helped him build everything from a garage in Seattle, the woman who was there before the first dollar, before the first customer, before Amazon was anything more than a crazy idea scribbled on a napkin in a van. And he chose a woman whose own brother betrayed her for $200,000. He looked at the woman who was giving away billions without asking for a single photograph. And he chose a woman who wore 27 designer outfits over 3 days in Venice. He looked at the woman who earned it, and he chose the woman who married it. Rosie called it what it was. Sold his soul is what it looks like from here. The devil is smiling at all his conquests. But here is what Jeff Bezos will never understand and what Rosie O'Donnell already knows. McKenzie Scott won. She won the day she walked away without making a scene. She won when she signed the Giving Pledge. She won every single time she donated another $1 billion without calling a press conference. She won when Mia Farrow praised her the day after the Venice wedding without even needing to mention Jeff's name. She won when Rosie O'Donnell, a woman who has never been afraid to say what everyone else is thinking, looked at everything Jeff Bezos has become and called McKenzie the salt of the earth. Because McKenzie Scott does not need to say a word. She never has. She let $26 billion in generosity stand next to $55 million in spectacle and trusted that anyone paying attention could see the difference. And they can. They always could. Rosie just said it louder than anyone else had the guts to. And Oprah, the woman who spent 30 years telling other women to trust their instincts and honor their worth, chose to stand on the wrong side of this story. That is the part that will not heal. That is the part that feels personal. Because Oprah did not just attend a wedding. She endorsed a man's worst decision in front of the whole world, while the woman he wronged was quietly saving lives with the money he owed her. And McKenzie Scott still has not said a word about any of it. Not about the wedding, not about the $55 million spectacle that was supposed to make Jeff look like a king, but only made him look like a fool. She does not need to. The rest of us will say it for her. If you want to see how Jeff's transformation happened step by step and why every choice he has made since the divorce keeps proving McKenzie right, that video is on your screen right now. Click it before it disappears.